So we've taught stalling. We now come to teach further stalling exercises. The aim is to demonstrate the different stall entry scenarios, so it's scenario-based training more than anything else. We need people to understand the scenarios that they could inadvertently stall the aircraft, many of which are due to accelerated stalls. However, no matter how you stall the glider, the standard recovery remains the same. It's stick centrally forward, regain flying speed, and then return to the normal attitude. In terms of threat and error management, the further stalling exercises are designed as demonstrations. The student pilot does not necessarily need to fly these exercises. Also, the further stalling and indeed the further spinning, the stall itself can be quite alarming, and you may get adverse student reactions, so it's very worthwhile doing initial demonstrations with our hands and feet off the controls as demonstrations only. Again, accelerated stalls can lead to accelerated spins, so you do need to give yourself some extra height over and above the standard stalling exercises in case you do get an accelerated spin entry. Also, think about the glider that you're going to choose to demonstrate some of these exercises. Some of the older types, K13s, Pawcatses, have very large elevator controls and are very easy to get accelerated stalls. Many of the modern types of glider have much smaller control surfaces and can be a little bit challenging in order to get an accelerated stall out of the aircraft. So think about what glider you're going to get out of the hangar before you demonstrate these exercises. Why do we teach these? Well, we teach these exercises because under certain circumstances, not all pre-stall symptoms are present, or indeed may be missed. And it's trying to give them an understanding or a further understanding of how speed and loading are interrelated. There are certain cues which can be convincingly misleading. One of those cues, unfortunately, is attitude and speed. If we roll back to one of the first lessons we taught our students, indeed probably one of the first lines of patter they were given, is look over the nose, this is the normal gliding attitude. And the student will come to understand that the normal attitude will lead to a normal speed. It's not necessarily the case. Similarly, they will get a certain feel for the aircraft and may be a little bit confused when it starts to feel different. We also want to put different scenarios to these exercises, and when we fly the exercise or demonstrate the exercise, we want to hit the student with a punchline. So it might be on the accelerated stall pulling out of the dive. The punchline might be, so remember, if we find ourselves pulling out of the dive, we mustn't do so too sharply. It needs to be smooth and progressive. When we go about teaching these, well, clearly they must have an understanding of basic stalling. So these are done post-basic stalls, but not necessarily all at once. We can drop them into whichever phase of flight we feel might be appropriate. So if we come onto the stall by increasing G by pulling out of a dive, you may well want to teach that alongside launch failures off a winch launch. That would be appropriate. So, what are the further stalling exercises? We have the difference between reduced G and a stall. Again, this is where our senses can be convincingly misleading. If we've done a lot of stalling and never experienced reduced G, we may confuse the sensation or a falling sensation with a stall. Another one is the elevator is ineffective at raising the nose at the point of the stall. This is simply a reinforcement exercise of what they should already know. We have a high-speed stall where we load the glider up by pulling out of a dive and the stall speed increases because of that. And on a similar note, we have the stall speed increasing the turn where we load the glider by turning it. When we brief our students, we obviously want to brief the exercises, but also give them an understanding of the background. So they need to understand factors affecting total lift and stall speed. They need to be briefed scenarios for each exercise, and they need the point of the exercise. Coming back to the factors affecting total lift and stall speed, the standard lift equation is very good for explaining a lot of these further stalling exercises.